This is the Louie T Network.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to lockdown coverage, week number 15 in the National Football League. Cincinnati Bengals on the road taking on the Minnesota Vikings. I told you it felt like the Vikings haven't been home in quite some time, and boy, did they have a party for coming home. Fiesta, 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 woo! Fiesta, fiesta. Hey, it was a party. Everybody got some in this game. Old man Newman got him a pick. Eric Kendricks took one to the crib. Case Keenum continues his surefire bid to be the NFL's most improved player, as he only incompleted 3 passes on his way to another sparkling, stellar day. The run game was outstanding with Latavius Murray. They dominated the game early on the ground. And then, shh, don't tell nobody. The secret weapon known as Jerick McKinnon had a field day catching the football out of the backfield. A lot of space out in the flats as he did work, over 100 yards receiving for the secret weapon. And they just had fun in this game, man. It was 34-0. They decided to bring in Teddy Bridgewater, and what a scene that was. It's good to see Teddy get in the game, standing ovation. The players telling everybody, get up, give this man some love. It, had to be an emotional scene for a lot of fans, but more importantly, Teddy Bridgewater himself finally getting in an NFL game since ripping his knee to shreds. So it was a great scene to see him get in, and all of the support that the fans gave him, and to see him finally get in a game, maybe his last in Minnesota, who's to know. But it was just good to see him get in any event. This was utter destruction from the beginning. Like I said, the Bengals last week, they quit. And then, the story came out before this game that Marvin Lewis was done, and he was going to be looking for another opportunity elsewhere, or a front office job. He came out and refuted those reports. Look, he's done. I don't care where the reports came from, how accurate they are, whatever. He's done in Cincinnati, unless he's moving to the front office. So, in any event, which he hasn't done a bad job of picking players. So, along with Mike Brown, I thought they've done a really good job of picking players in Cincinnati. So, in any event, this was an ass whooping, ass thrashing. What we expected. I told you Cincinnati quit last week against the Bears at home. It kind of continued and spilled over to this game. The Vikings are just better. That's number one. Number two, the Vikings are just better. And this was a t-shirt and hat game for the Vikings. They clinched the NFC North division with this blowout victory, 34-7. And so they are going to be one of your 2 teams in the NFC. Most likely, now again, still got to finish out the season strong, but they're going to be most likely one of your 2 first-round bye teams. They still have an outside shot at getting the number 1 seed. If the Eagles were to slip up, they have an opportunity. I don't see that happening, but we'll see what happens. Again, still 2 weeks of football left in the regular season, but one thing's for sure, the NFC North champions will be out of Minnesota as the Vikings clinch the NFC North division. For the Bengals, it's been a rough season. Started bad, had a little bit of life towards the middle. It's going to finish bad. And so we'll see if they finish up this thing on a 5-game losing streak or so. I think they lost that Pittsburgh game, turned around, lost again against Chicago, lost this game. Yeah, 5-game losing streak. If they don't win a game to finish up the season, it'll be 5 straight to finish out the season in the loss column. And that's the kind of season it's been, and we'll see what happens with this team moving forward. But they get trounced in Minnesota 34-7. This Vikings team, week after week after week, builds more and more confidence. And I'm starting to believe. I didn't believe at first. I'm starting to believe. And that Case Keenum feeling keeps gnawing at me. I can't get past the fact that it's Case Keenum. It's clouding my judgment just a little bit. But nonetheless, it's a good defensive football team. They can run the football. They're getting healthier along the offensive line. He's making all the right decisions. They've got playmakers. Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, who caught a touchdown pass in this game. Kyle Rudolph, the secret weapon. There's just so many guys that can hurt you. And Case Keenum himself is doing Ullman-like work, using his legs when need be. Had a nice little run in this game. This is a dangerous Vikings team. I'm starting to come around. And it's not as if I wasn't paying attention the entire season. It's just, I kept saying, it's Case Keenum, guys. It's Case Keenum. And at some point, they're 11-3 now. At some point, you have to stop saying it's Case Keenum and recognize what this guy's doing. And it may be just 1 year. It may not be. It may be he may have figured it out. He may have found a home. Who knows? All I know is at some point you got to stop saying, hey, guys, wake up. It's Case Keenum. And say, look, man, shit, it's Case Keenum. Like, there's a difference. I think I'm starting to come around. Because the defense is legit. Marcus Sherrills is a return waiting to happen. At some point, he's going to get somebody. And that offense now, with Case Keenum taking care of the football, they're running it well. All the weapons they have. Minnesota, man. Look out. The Vikings are not playing around as they get it done 34-7 over the Cincinnati Bengals. Any comments? We'll see if we have any, and we'll move on. This was total domination, though, from start to finish. Eduardo O'Neill says, I hope the Bengals team shows up next week against the Lions. That team's going to show up. The only difference is you have to travel to Cincinnati, but they've quit. They're done. And you should be able to go in there and take care of business. As long as you don't turn it over and make a bunch of mistakes that give them confidence, you do what Minnesota did to them. You do what Chicago did to them, which is early on in the game establish you have no shot today. You'll take care of business out there against Cincinnati. John Niner says, what's up with Zach Brown? He's always headhunting. Not cool, man. Zach Brown, who are you referencing? I don't know a Zach Brown on either one of these teams. Cloud says free agency is about to have some solid QBs, especially if Bridgewater gets there. I told you this is going to be one of the most intriguing off seasons for quarterbacks in quite some time. I don't recall ever seeing, because usually the free agent crop of quarterbacks is straight garbage. I mean, nobody's letting their franchise quarterback hit the streets, but this year it's different. A lot of veterans. Got Kirk Cousins in his prime, most likely hitting free agency. There are some intriguing names to hit free agency for sure this year. Eduardo O'Neill says the buys will go to the Eagles and Vikings. The 3rd and 4th seed will most likely stay the same unless the Saints lose the next 2 in the division. Yeah, pretty much. I think the Saints are going to beat the Falcons next week, so they're going to win the NFC South division. The Rams are going to win the NFC West division, and then, you know, the 5th and 6th seed will be up for grabs. We'll see who are able to. Carolina's getting one of them. In my mind, the Panthers are one of your. It's going to be your 5th seed, and then you'll see who gets the 6th seed, whether it's Dallas, Atlanta, Detroit, whomever. We'll see what happens there. Trey Vike says, is Bradford's career over? Probably not. Most likely not. He'll get a shot. There's too many teams that need a quarterback for his. If he wants to play, there'll be somewhere that will give him an opportunity to play. Caesar Augustus says, who do you think would win in the playoffs between the Vikings and the Eagles? Right now, if I would go with the Vikings just because of their defense. I think the Eagles' defense is a little suspect. I watched Eli Manning carve those boys up, and Sterling Shepard went for over $1 and some change. And that Giants' offense has been dead all season long, and they gave up 29 points. And if not for an Eli interception and a block punt right before halftime that totally changed that game, you could be looking at a Eagles loss. So I take the Vikings right now, but where that game is played might matter. But maybe it doesn't because the Vikings are playing so well. If Trey Vike says, if you're Zim, who do you keep? TB or Keenum? If it's not broke, don't fix it. You keep Case Keenum and you keep it moving. John Niner says, Vikes have a good defense, but they're not 2001 Ravens, and Case Keenum is going to get eaten alive in the playoffs. We'll see. No one ever said they were the 2001 Vikings. They don't have to be to win. They just got to continue to do what they've done thus far, and that's just shut teams down. They've shut some of the best offenses. The Rams scored 7 points. The Falcons scored 9 points. You say what you want about them. They're not the 2001 Ravens. They're not that dominant, but they're good. And if they can continue to play the brand of football that has gotten them to 11-3, they're going to be a tough out in the NFC playoffs. That is for sure. It's going to do it for Bengals and Vikings. Ton more lockdown coverage coming your way. Rapid, fast action. I'm going to knock them all down. Got a lot to discuss. A lot of ass whoopings, but a lot of close games as well. There was really no in-between in Week 15. Either you got your ass whooped or it was a really close game. So, in any event, I look forward to breaking it down. Got a lot more coming your way. So don't go anywhere. More lockdown coverage to come. Bengals get trounced on the road at Minnesota. Vikings clinch the NFC North with the 34-7 victory. They go to 11-3 and stay within striking range of the #1 seed in the NFC playoffs. With the win, Bengals drop to 5-9, and they're heading for 5-11 this season. And Marvin Lewis is on his way out. I've got more lockdown coverage coming. Don't you go anywhere. I'll see you in a bit.